Hi, everyone, and welcome. So I hope that you can hear me. Please let me know if somebody is already here and you can tell me if you can actually hear me. But today we are going to do some reading sprints, and I'm really looking forward to it. I chose the cozy atmosphere. I hope that I could make it work. I know that a lot of people have been doing some spooky reading sprints, especially this season, because, well, of course, it's Halloween. But spooky isn't really the vibe that I'm thriving on. I am very easily scared, so I decided to use the autumn theme and go with something a little bit more cozy instead. So, as always, of course, I'm going to read, but you can do whatever you want. If you want to do something else productive, that's fine as well. If you are going to read or do something else and you are watching now, then let me know in the chat what you're going to do. And if you're watching afterwards, which is something that I always do, because being in Europe, a lot of the reading sprints happen when I'm asleep. So I usually watch afterwards. If you're doing that, then let me know in the comments down below what you are going to do. So I can see that already some people are here. Hi, everybody. Hi, Maza. I won't tell if you don't. Hi, John. Oh, hi, Amy. So it's always easy when you're a fellow European that the time zones are a little bit the same, because I know that it's now morning for me, so it's 9:30. I have my coffee with me, and I'm still in PJs. I'm sorry. But I know that a lot of people, especially if you are from the US, it's probably in the middle of the night. But yeah, time zones, it's always a little bit tricky to handle that. But I am going to read Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. I think that this is an author duo, but I'm actually not entirely sure. But I'm really liking this one so far. I'm not that far in. It's like 80 pages or something like that. And this is actually a pick that all of you chose, because I put on the community tab which 2021 release you wanted me to start with. Because if you don't know, I hope to have a video of all the 2021 releases that I've read in the fantasy genre out in the beginning of December. So you can decide if you want to buy something like that for Christmas. So I really need to get to some of those. So this is the first one, of course, Mask of Mirrors. It's the first one in the Rook and Rose trilogy. And the second one is already coming out, I think, in December. So I'm a little bit behind. And then I also have The Counselor by A.J. Beaton, Ariadne by, I always forget her name, but that's a standalone at least, Greek myth retelling, and The Unbroken. And that's one that I am going to read in November. So I do have some 2021 releases that I still need to get to. Oh, yeah, you're 1 hour before me, I think. Same, clocks changed here as well. And I wasn't really sure if my scheduled video was going to be this time or the old hour. So I had to check a couple of times this morning. But I am really quite awake now because we had 1 hour extra. Ooh, The Death of Jane Lawrence. I hope you can finish today as well. It's a creepy read, I think, right? Well, I wanted to actually finish this one by the beginning of November, because I wanted to start November fresh for novellas in November. But I can read fast if I have to, but I won't be able to finish 500 pages in one day. So I will probably have to carry over in the first few days of November, at least. Ooh, okay, yeah, it's you and Hugo, right, who do that book club. I still need to pick up Stephen King, but I think that Amy said Misery was a good one to start with. So I think that I will have to see if I have that one from the library and then continue if I like it. I haven't read, the only Stephen King that I've read so far is The Gunslinger, the first one in the Dark Tower series. And as it seems, that's not the best one to start with. So I need to give him another try. Yes, true. I have it on my shelves here and it's, yeah, you're correct. Oh, Australia. I didn't know we were that close in time zones. But it's, well, 7:30 is still quite early for a Sunday. I'm always awake pretty early because of the dogs. But normally, if you can sleep in the weekend, most people do that. Oh, hi, Kitty. Deathless Divide. Ooh, I always say this. I have a lot of knowledge in the adult fantasy genre, but on everything besides that, I draw a blank. So all of these I will have to look up afterwards, because my TBR isn't long enough, apparently. Hi, Safina. So I'm reading Mask of Mirrors. And well, this is the one that I'm currently reading as a physical read, but I'm also audiobooking the Starden's Book Club to Slaying Guide to Slaying Vampires. I always mess up this title because it's so long, but I'm almost done. I still have 1 hour left, I think, in the audiobook, so I will try to at least finish this one today during cleaning or something like that in the afternoon. I'm really liking that one because even though I don't like scary reads, this one is about vampires. I don't really think that that's spoiler since it's in the title. And that's something that I'm not that afraid of. Also, it's giving me Desperate Housewife vibes. So it's also a little bit funny, which I like. So I'm not scared, and I'm still in team for Halloween. But I'm not going to do that now because it's an audiobook. I'm going to stick to the physical read. Misery, character focused. Okay, yeah, that's always a plus for me. Yeah, it's the supernatural things like haunted houses. That's something that I don't really thrive with. It's especially if you know we tried to read House of Leaves, or I tried to read. Everybody else succeeded, but I tried to read House of Leaves in October because this afternoon, if anybody has read it, over on Steve's channel, there's going to be a spoiler-filled discussion for that book, but I just couldn't do it. It's not that I've DNF'd it. I'm not that far in either, but by the way, talking about this one, I have it at hand. But I wanted to read it when my husband was at home, so I wouldn't be afraid. And this week he hasn't been home that much, so I just couldn't pick it up. But other than that, it's also so different from what I normally read, and the way that it conveys information is something that I need to get used to, I suppose. So I am going to continue and see if I like it a little bit more further in, but I'm going to take it very, very slow. So I wasn't able to finish it in October, fortunately, but if you have read it either in October or before that, you can watch that discussion, of course. But character focused is always a plus for me, so really looking forward to that. Yeah, well, I thought it's 600 pages, so, and a lot of the pages are only one word or a picture, so I thought that I would be fine reading House of Leaves in 2 weeks, but the beginning is very dense, in my opinion, and I think that it does take a while to get used to the writing style and what's going on exactly. You also have 2 timelines, and I'm liking the one with the house, and I'm not really liking the one with, is it Johnny? I'm not liking that one that much. And you also have some parts with, I know that somebody already told me that. Ashley from Read Now, Sleep Later said that you had almost textbook passages as well that talk about, lighting and how all of that works and sound. And I thought, well, it's hopefully going to be fine, but it's really difficult to get into that zone that you can actually read it somewhat fast. My brain has a shortcut when I have to read things like that, especially in the evening when I'm already tired. So I'm definitely going to take my time and maybe just read it a couple of pages every day in between other books. And I think then I'll be fine. But yeah, definitely going to take it slower than I anticipated in the beginning. So today also, that's the reason why I'm here alone, is because normally when we do reading sprints, we talk a lot and we don't end up reading that much, especially if I see how long a video of reading sprints was in total. Less than 50% is actually sprint and everything else is talking. And that's, of course, a lot of fun. I think that next week we're going to have some reading sprints where Stephanie from Miss Richards Reads is going to join us, as well as Steve, or at least Steve is going to try. And then, of course, it's going to be a lot more chatty. But today, I just want to get a lot of reading done. So I thought, let's do it alone, have a little bit of talking, a lot of reading, and then just some small pauses in between. So also, let me know how long you would like the first sprint to be. I had 30 minutes planned, but I can also do, I think, the 40 or 45. I have a different timer as well if you like to have a longer reading sprint to start with first. Oh yeah, you talked about that. Dread Nation is the title that I recognize. Deathless Divide I didn't. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's Halloween themed, but it's not something that I'm going to be scared by. So another one that's on the list, but well, I'm not going to be able to read it before Halloween, right? So maybe for next year. But it's definitely more in the vibe of the Southern Book Club's Guides to Slaying Vampires, where it's a lot of gore, it's a lot of action, it's not a lot of supernatural, scary stuff like haunted houses. So I am going to see if I put this link everywhere, because I'm always a little bit scrambling in the mornings. The dogs are quiet. At least that's something, because often, and now of course when I say the dogs are quiet, I can see them watching me, asking what I'm going to do. Normally I have them next to me if I'm doing reading sprints, but now there's just not time. Well, I thought that 30 minutes was a good thing to start with as well. So let's just do that. And maybe we can start right now, because now I'm still in the mood to read. So we need to take advantage of that, I suppose. So I'm just going to try to share the screen for the timer. Perfect. So happy reading, everyone. Okay, so how did everybody do? Oh, hi Hans. Well, an impromptu bike trip is always a good idea, right? I've been telling myself for ages that I need to work out a little bit more, and workout for me is very broad. I mean, just do something else than sitting and reading or playing board games, which is all pretty sedative, I suppose. So I've been wanting to go on a bike ride, and I haven't, maybe 2 times in the entire summer season. So but it's still really beautiful weather, right? Hans and I live pretty close by. I mean, he lives in the Netherlands and I live in Belgium. So yesterday we had a lot of rain, but then today it's beautiful. So I suppose it's the same where you are and that it's the perfect weather to go for a bike ride. We're going to do another sprint soon, so you can definitely catch up if you want to. Yeah, I'm looking outside and it's really beautiful. So maybe I need to do that after the sprints as well and be a little bit more active today. 25 pages is good, yeah. Especially if you have a newborn. How is Julian doing? Changing a diaper and reading. That's multitasking right there. Well, you definitely sold me to the idea. I'm going to see if my husband wants to come, but I know that my brother is coming over at my parents' house, which is like 3 kilometers from here. So we should just take at least the bike and not the car, because that's very lazy for such a short distance. 28 pages is also really good, especially for only half an hour of reading. But it's too bad that you're not really liking the book. And yeah, I'm the same. If I DNF a book, it's usually before the halfway point, because once I've reached that, I invested so much time that I feel bad if I then don't finish it. But at the other hand, you already wasted time if you're not loving it. So you need to see if you're really not liking it, I would just pick up something else and maybe let it lie. I think that you had 100 pages left. So yeah, it's a difficult decision for sure, especially if you're not a big DNFer. I tried to teach myself that in the last couple of months because it's just not worth it, but it's difficult for sure. It seems like we're all reading around the same amount of pages, so that's nice because I think I'm now at page 90. And I said that I was at page 80, but it's not true. I was at page 72. So I read 18 pages, which is a little bit less, but it's a small font, right? I mean, that's my excuse. Yeah, Germany, of course, it's also pretty close, right? I don't know how close you are to the border of Belgium, but yeah, it's always nice when you have some beautiful autumn days instead of the wet and cold ones. Oh, like Amy is having. Oh, but it is very appropriate for Halloween. I don't know if you all celebrate that because in Belgium, it's the last couple of years, it's definitely coming up more and more with the trick or treating. But I live in a very small village, and Halloween has never really been a holiday here. So it's something that now happens in the bigger cities, I think. I would be very surprised if I see a trick or treater here today. So I don't think that that's going to happen because here it's more for the adults almost. We don't really see children. It's more adults who, just have a fun time, I suppose. Oh, that's so fun. It's you never know what's going to happen with a baby, right? And of course, it's never their fault. Sometimes they're just a little bit louder than others, but it's really nice if you have an easy child who just seems happy and sleeps well. And how is your wife doing, by the way? Because well, childbirth isn't a lot of fun, I suppose, but of course you do get something in return. How old is he now? I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks, less than 100 pages. Ah, well, okay, if you're curious enough to want to know the ending, then yeah, I would push through as well. Normally, what I do if I don't like it is I just skim through so that I have the general idea, but I don't really pay my full attention to it. But I don't know if it's the kind of book that you can do that with. Oh, Well, and still you're awake early enough to join us for the reading sprints. My neighbors are, I think, 70 plus, so they haven't been holding any parties lately, or at least none in the middle of the night. It is very cozy, right? I know that we do the same thing, but I don't know. I don't know if that's something that happens worldwide or that it's pretty only for Belgium, so very specific. But we have that the 6th of January, which is, I don't even know how you translate that into English, but it's like when the kings came to visit Jesus, and then we also go, and it's like trick or treating, but something else. And you sometimes dress up as one of the kings, and you sing a little song about how they gave money to Jesus, I suppose. I don't know what's happening, but I know that we do that on the 6th of January and that we also give sweets and money. So it's basically the same, but then more Christian themed, I suppose. Yeah, Three Kings. Okay, so at least it's the same for Belgium and the Netherlands. I don't know how far that custom goes beyond these two countries. I saw the picture of you, your wife, and your son, all with like the same outfit for football. Super cute. It's one of the things that I'm so afraid of is like the childbirth part of having a kid. I would like to be pregnant and then have the child, but the in between part. Yeah, so you don't do the Three Kings thing, or you do? It's basically the same as what other people do for Halloween, but yeah, just a little bit differently packed in, I suppose. Ah, yes, but the 11th of November we have like one small part of the country who also celebrates Saint Martin, but the other part just uses Sinterklaas or Saint Nicholas, which is the 6th of December. And that's basically the European version of Santa Claus. So we have both. I think that most people here, or most children, don't believe in Santa Claus. We just believe in Sinterklaas or Saint Nicholas, who gives gifts at the 6th of December. And then Christmas is more just a family holiday. And we know about Santa Claus, but nobody actually believes in him. So we just have an extra holiday, I suppose. It sounds super weird when I was trying to explain it, but I must say that I don't know a lot about it. I just know that I went singing from door to door as a child, but the whole idea behind it, I'm a little bit lost. I just know that it's with Three Kings, and that's it. Yes, true. That's when you have to put away the Christmas decorations. But you always have people who keep the Christmas decorations until it's almost summer, and then it's really time to put it away. We also celebrate, yeah, Carnevale, or we call it Carnaval, but I think that it's what is that? It's also something Christian, right? Before Easter, I learned all of this in school, but I forgot a lot. Yeah, same. I'm just not into the spooky vibes at all. I can like it with the pumpkins and like the silly ghosts and stuff like that. But from the moment that people are dressed up really creepy, I get very scared. Like you have those. I think that it's most of all in the U.S. where you have those creepy clowns who really come out and scare people while they're driving. And I'm really glad that we don't have that here because I would get into an accident. I I would really freak out, even if I know that it's just for fun. Yeah, the three wise men, and that's when you have to like put everything from Christmas away. But to be honest, I don't even know if I'm going to put up a Christmas tree because when we moved here, which is already 2 years ago, we didn't have one of our own, and we haven't bought one yet. So we always forget, and it's the putting the Christmas tree together. That's the fun part. But then when you have to like take everything down and clean up, that's the part that I don't really like. So maybe I'll just put like some small decorations, but I don't know if I'm going to go for a full-on Christmas tree. it's so much fun because I am the godmother of my two nephews. Then I have one other nephew, but you're not going to give one to two and then not the other one. So I still have to get presents for all three of them, and I need to get going because it's more than a month away. But I have heard that there's going to be a lot of issues with delivery services and that it will take a long time. So I really need to start getting gifts. But it's so fun because they really think that St. Nicholas is giving them gifts, and they're so excited when they get into the house and they're looking for their gifts. I really like it. Yeah, we have a lot, but the thing is, we don't even think about it as religious anymore. I think that that's even true for Christmas and Easter for a lot of people. We just see it as a family holiday. We do celebrate it a little bit more connected to the faith, but a lot of those other holidays, they have their basis in Christianity, but most people don't really treat it like that. But it's always fun. Like, for instance, tomorrow is All Saints Day, and the day after that is All Souls Day, something like that. And I have 2 days off because of that, so that's definitely a plus. So Carnival is a Christian holiday. Hans bringing the facts. Thanks, Hans. Ah, yes, it's like the one day that you can eat a lot before you have to be like lean for 40 days. Yeah, I know that my mom was pretty strict with the fasting, like also no meat or only eating fish on Friday. We never really participated with that, except for when we were children, we weren't allowed to eat candy for 40 days, which was very difficult on us. It took its toll. Oh, okay, so it's different where you are from. Yeah, I have like a general idea when all of the days are, but or when they take place, but I'm definitely not somebody who's really read about them a lot. Usually, I know the week beforehand because people tell me that I don't need to come into work that day because it's a holiday, and I'm always very excited. Ah, yes, that could definitely be the reason. It's really interesting because I always try to read a little bit more about that. It stems from Henry VIII, right? That he wanted to separate from his wife, and they didn't allow him, or the Christian Catholic Church didn't allow him to do that. I still need to read Wolf Hall, by the way. Always when I think about Henry VIII, I think I need to read Wolf Hall, and I know that Amy has read it and really liked the entire trilogy. So, but on the other hand, I think that it's a difficult read, and I need my brain power for that. So maybe I need to wait until I have a long holiday or something. Yeah, I also don't celebrate it that much. But the origin of all of these holidays, it's really interesting when you think about it. Yeah, same. I'm also going to visit my grandparents' grave and my brother because I know that my mom made a little piece to go on his grave, so I'm just going to have a look tomorrow. It's not that I don't really care that much about it, really going there instead of thinking about those people at home. I don't really see the difference. But I do know that it's important for my mom and my dad that I just go and just be there and be present. So I am going to visit them tomorrow as well. We definitely have a lot of saints. I don't know most of them, but there's a lot. And there are still coming new ones every couple of days or every couple of months, I must say. I think that they announce a new saint. I think it focuses on Thomas Cromwell more than anything, but it's in the same period. And Thomas Cromwell was his counselor, advisor. I watched The Tudors, so I have a general idea, but at the same time, it's probably not completely historically accurate, that series. But it was very entertaining. My Lady Jane. Ooh. Going to just put it here that I don't forget, even though I can just rewatch the chat afterwards as well. Yeah, I mean, so much easier than just having a mistress. Just break away from the entire church. Thanks, Hans. And condolences to everybody, basically, who is going to have a difficult time tomorrow. I don't know, sometimes it's difficult for people, the 1st of November. So that way, it's also pretty good that we do have the day off so that people who do need to just be at home and be peaceful and quiet can have that. I was close. So Thomas Cromwell was a member of court. I think that he started as a friend of Henry VIII, but then, especially when they had that fate issue, they separated. Yeah. Well, I think that I could enjoy that series because I don't know a lot about the true history. And also, yeah, you need to go in and know that you're not going to have an accurate viewpoint of the Tudors. But it was entertaining, for sure. And I really liked the different actors. The actress who played Anne Boleyn, I think that she plays Marjorie in Game of Thrones. I really like her and how she portrayed Anne Boleyn. But I don't know if there are a lot of accurate TV shows or movies about that time period because in almost all of them, Henry is super handsome, and in real life he wasn't. And this one, it's played by the same actor through the different seasons, but in the first one he's maybe 30, and then towards the last season he's really an old fat man. But it's still the same actor, and they tried to make him look old, but it didn't really work. Yeah, same. And it's one of the things that I want to read more of, but I now have so many fantasy series on my TBR that I seem to not be able to make the time for more historical fiction. But it's one of my goals for 2022. Try to read a little bit more of that. Yes, Natalie Dormer. I actually she has played in the Hunger Games. She also played a character, right? One of the maybe only in the third movie. But yeah, I really like her. But I like Game of Thrones, and I know that a lot of people didn't like the last season, and it's true, I didn't like it either, and it was super fast paced. A couple of the things that happened, but up until that point, I think up until season 6, I really enjoyed it, and I still want to rewatch it maybe someday, and then stop after the 6th season and make my own ending in my head without watching this TV show because it's a shame that a lot of people now don't watch that series at all because the last season wasn't that good, which is true, but everything before that was still beautifully done. It's one of my favorite fantasy shows of all time. But I am quite looking forward to Wheel of Time now, even though I didn't really love the books. I can definitely see that there's a really interesting story there. So I actually don't know when the first episode drops, but it's somewhere in November. So I'm definitely going to watch that first one and see. Hopefully, they just kept the main storyline that's super interesting and then let go of a lot of things that I was disappointed by. Yeah, especially if you want to read it, then I would say first read it and then watch if you're still interested in the show, because especially in the beginning, it's very faithful to what's been done in the books. And I think that it's more impactful if you read it without knowing what's happened. Maybe you've already been spoiled for some things because it was really in the media when the show was going. But I think that the books are a lot better, even though the show was done well for the first 5, 6 seasons. Yeah, I think especially if you know about the time period, that's something that can be super annoying. I think that I've heard that about it's like a new King Arthur retelling, the half something with the half. Okay, I'm doing a bad job here, but it's 2021 new release and Half Sick of Shadows. No, that's not it. I'm going to look it up afterwards and I'm going to let you know. But it's a new release that is a retelling of King Arthur, but it's like super inaccurate for the time period. Like they had beautiful mirrors, they're eating with forks and knives and stuff like that. I know that Leanna from Leanna's library, she did a video about all of the historical inaccuracies, and it's a lot. And it's up to a point that even I, who is not very well read in historical fiction, would have seen for at least some of these things that that's not right. They didn't have that in that time period. Like really things that are new from the 18th century that were done in this retelling. And it annoyed her a lot as well. Ooh, so it's almost like under 2 weeks. Yeah. I'm going to give that a try. And I've seen also the trailer of the new Witcher season. Season 2, I think it's. And I watched the first one. I really liked that one, actually. I know that it's not the best thing ever, but it was still really good. Thanks, Kitty. Yeah, we need to read a little bit more. So wait. I need to have a look because my timer kept going. So we'll see what we can do here. So how long will you read? I can do another half hour, 45 minutes. You let me know. Yeah, I must say that I've meshed the two in my brain, and I don't know what's from the show and what's from the books. So I do really want to reread them when Winds of Winter is announced and they have a release date. Yeah, we could talk about it on Discord when we're all watching it and just discuss what we like about it. Okay, so everybody says 45 minutes. We're going to do 45. I'm going to see if I still have the timer here somewhere. I'm really high tech here. So I have like a stack of board games. This is my laptop, and then here I have the second screen, so I can make this work. So happy reading, and I'll see So that was a little bit of a longer sprint. How did everybody do? I did actually quite well. My husband was disturbing me for a little while, so I wasn't reading for the full 45 minutes, but still, I did make some progress. I'm now at page 120, so I read 30 pages, and I'm really liking it so far. There's so much intrigue and a real mystery going about, so I don't know if everybody knows what this is about, but it's basically adult fantasy. It's the first in the trilogy. The trilogy is called The Rook and Rose, and you're basically following a con artist who is trying to make her way into a very wealthy family. It's like Venetian inspired world. So she wants to pull off the fact that she is the niece of one of these very wealthy people. But what she doesn't know is that they are actually in financial troubles. So while this would have been an easy gag for her, now that they're in financial troubles, they are like not really believing her and don't want her as a member of the family because she would cost money. But on top of that, you have the Rook, who is like a little bit like Zorro. So he's like, or Robin Hood. He's fighting for the poor people and he's against the rich. And you have a lot of mystery going about who he is and what's happening there. So yeah, I'm liking it so far. I'm really glad that I picked it up. Yeah, well, I know what you mean because my husband was also really annoying me a little bit. But yeah, sometimes people need help and they can't really always plan it. But a new gaming PC, I mean, I'm still waiting for me to buy one because the what is it? It's not the drivers, but something is quite expensive right now. Is it the? It's a card, and I can't. It's like a gaming card, right? It needs to be quite heavy if you want to play video games, and now it's quite expensive. So that's why I'm waiting, and I'm going back and forth whether or not I want to buy a gaming PC or a PlayStation 5. But I can't get my hands on a PlayStation 5 either, so I'm just waiting. Ooh, 50 pages. Wow, you're almost done with that book, Amy. 45 pages, you will definitely be done early afternoon, something like that. And then you know how the story ends and you can get your hands on a better book. We're all helping somebody during the reading sprints, but that's also being productive, right? We don't have to read. But oh, well, it's really exciting that he's looking for another job. I thought that was one of the most difficult things to do, like send an application and writing about yourself and being like, I'm really good for this job and these are my negative points, but it's not really negative because you don't want to really tell your negative points. I thought that was very difficult. Oh, that doesn't help to make you excited, right? If it's not really nice to read. And yes, of course, good luck to him. Hopefully he gets the job, especially if he's really excited for it. Graphic card, yes. I knew it was something like that, but I've heard that they're super expensive right now, but that it's probably going to last for a couple of months, maybe a year, before the prices go down. So I need to make a decision sometime, right? But my husband has a gaming PC, so I am allowed to use it when he isn't using it. So maybe it's just easier to buy PlayStation 5 so that we can go back and forth because he also wants to have a PlayStation 5. And I say it's my husband's gaming PC, it is, but it's also mine because marriage. Yeah, I think that I also don't know the title of Hans's book. Yeah, well, if he doesn't have a gaming PC already, I can definitely see why he's not really excited to wait for longer than a year. If he already had one, he's splurging, but we're allowed to do that sometimes. Oh, hey, Caitlin. Yeah, 4 a.m. Whew, on a Sunday. It's maybe a little bit too early, but yeah. Oh, puppy. Okay, that's super excited. But yes, you do have some very funky nights ahead of you because normally in the middle of the night they decide that they want to go and pee. It's a mini baby, right? But I'm glad that he's doing well. I didn't know that you had a puppy, so cute. Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Other Stories. Oh, that's really a classic, right? I've heard of it. I don't know what it's about. Some way in my brain, it's like together with the Frankenstein, but I think that's something completely different. But that's what I'm linking it with in my head. Ooh, that does sound like something completely different than I normally read because I don't read a lot of contemporaries. But everything else, Indian queer, it sounds like something that I should give a try or at least look up and see what it's about. And 12%, that's well done. I don't know how long the book is, of course, but still, making progress in an arc. I don't have any arcs, to be honest, because I always question whether or not I should ask them on NetGalley when I'm already so far behind on everything that already came out. I think that I would be very bad at reading an arc in time. Yeah, see, so then I can definitely understand that you're just splurging a little bit because you don't want to wait for a year. Switch, I have in the 3DS, so definitely an older model of that one. But I like Nintendo games, but I can't play them the entire time. It's like a palate cleanser almost, but not the main game or the main types of games that I'm interested in. Yeah, probably same because I'm trying to get my hands on a PS5, but it's not working so far. And of course, then we have St. Nicholas and we have Christmas and New Year, so probably everybody is on the hunt for a PlayStation 5. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Ooh, okay. It does sound interesting, right? So it's almost Frankenstein, but then he's actually doing research on himself by accident. Ooh, okay. Are you liking it so far? Because it does sound really interesting, but I think that it's a classic, so probably the writing style is a little bit older. Yeah, I can definitely understand you, Amy. I used to play PC games when I was younger, but it was like Baldur's Gate, RPG type games, but where you just have to use the mouse to click, and that's it. You don't have to use any of the buttons. But now I tried Horizon Zero Dawn. There you have to use the mouse to like see where you're looking, and then it's the buttons to move. And I can't learn that. I think that that's something that if you learn it as a child, you just go with the flow and it's very easy to comprehend. But as an adult, it takes me a long time. And I'm still, when somebody attacks me in Horizon Zero Dawn, I completely lose focus and my mouse is going everywhere and I see like the sky or the ground, but I don't see where I'm going because I'm not used to the controls. But I'm willing to learn, I suppose. Plus, I play a lot of Diablo where you just have to use the mouse. So, yeah. I went to NetGalley once and I asked for a bunch of arcs because I thought that I wasn't going to get them. And then I got most of them. So yeah, I really, when I go there, I need to like only ask a very small amount and wait until I either have them or am declined and then ask for more. And not ask for 10 at a time. That's something that I learned the hard way. Yeah. What kind of dog is it? Mine are outside, but they're like being annoyed, so they want to go inside again, even though they're just outside for 10 minutes. They always want to go in and out the entire time. Yeah, it sounds like it's a more difficult read than the newer horror things that are coming out, but it's definitely an interesting story, it seems. Well, the good thing is when my husband bought, I think, the computer or Steam account, something like that, he got Horizon Zero Dawn for free. So that's why it was the one that I tried first. I think that he also played it on PS4 a couple of years ago, but I tried it on the computer. I think it's really a very interesting concept. And it's the type of game that I like to play. It's just a little bit difficult because something that's maybe a little bit like it is Tomb Raider, which I also played as a child. But back then, she aimed automatically. So you just had to fire, and her aim would be true always. And now I know that with the new Tomb Raider games, you also have to aim, which is something that I'm really bad at because I start getting really tense when I see that somebody has spotted me and I don't take the time to aim calmly. So I need to learn that. I don't even know what Steam Deck is. I've never heard of that, so maybe I need to pick it up. Oh, golden retrievers are so cute when they're puppies. They're like little teddy bears. My brother had a golden retriever. Well, now he's still alive. He lives with my parents now, but he's 13 years old, so he's getting a little bit older. He has trouble getting up. He takes pills for his arthritis, but it's still just a fluffy bear. I love golden retrievers. Well, I must say that I don't have a lot of experience with games, so it just feels like Tomb Raider because you're also playing as a main character and it's like third person, so you see the person walking, which was the same for Tomb Raider, and I like that more because when you don't see the person, it's like more immersive, and I'm more afraid because you're really watching through their eyes, and I get too stressed out. I need to see the person that I'm playing to know that it's just a game. It's fine. Yeah, well, when I played, Tomb Raider was like really pixelated, so it didn't really feel like it was real, which also helped with my enjoyment. I wasn't too stressed out about it. But yeah, bow and arrow, I think that I never used. I think in my Tomb Raider version, it was just guns. But you had shotguns or the normal, like, two things. Oh, maybe that's something that I should look out for. Steam Deck. It's almost like it looks like a PS Vita, I suppose. Okay, I'm back, but I'm extremely green at the moment. Oh, it's getting better. Okay, so my normal camera died. This is going to be fixed in the future because I just bought something. It's like it's now the battery bank, but something like that. So my camera will live longer for live streams and stuff like that. But now it's just the webcam. Yeah, it's really a cool game. It's been a while since I played it actually because I'm getting annoyed that I'm not good at it. But of course, I need to actually practice to get better. It's possible. I asked him like 20 minutes into the sprint if he could get me some coffee, but he just saw like 2 minutes ago. So now I have coffee. Oh, oh, thank you. I hope you have some good lunch. We still need to eat, but we had big breakfast. To be honest, my husband went to the bakery, and I ate a little bit too much, so I'm not too hungry at the moment. And I still have to go out for dinner this evening. And I've already looked at the menu, so I'm going out to eat with some friends because otherwise this sprint would have been at the evening, but I'm not home then. And I looked at the menu and it's all unhealthy. So maybe I need to eat something light for lunch. I drink way too much coffee, by the way. I don't know if everybody is like that, but if I don't have coffee in the morning, I just can't wake up. I need to have some coffee. But I don't know if all of you want to sprint a little bit more. It seems like the camera, my webcam, is still okay. It's not the best quality, but it's fine. So if you guys want to sprint a little bit more, let me know. If not, we can start the rest of the day and stop sprints. Late breakfast as well, although it's an hour earlier. Well, still late breakfast, I suppose. Okay. 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 45. Let me know. I'm going to read a little bit more anyway, so we could do sprints here, or otherwise I'm just going to read on my own, I suppose. Yeah, I'm going to have a look at my second screen because I'm still not used to all of this. I'm going to see that I have other stuff planned as well. Okay, yes, definitely going to sprint a little bit more. Have a nice breakfast, Amy, and thanks for joining. It was a lot of fun. I always like to have a little bit more commitment, especially when I'm on camera. I have to read. And once I'm into the story, I read a lot more. So just thanks for being there with me. It was a lot of fun. 45? Well, we can do 45, right? And if anybody wants to jump out, just let me know in the chat and I'll see after the sprints. But I'll just do 45 right now because I'm in the mood for some more reading and it doesn't happen too often. So when that happens, we need to make the most of it. So happy reading. We'll see how far we get, right? Hi everyone, time's up. So I hope that you had some good reading sprints and a lot of progress made. Bacon omelette bagel sandwiches. Yeah, that sounds really good. Especially with the current weather, because you said that it was a little bit rainy where you are. A good breakfast is always a good way to start the day. So everybody else, how did you do with the reading? So I made good progress in this one. I'm currently at page 150. So almost at part 2. Part 2 starts at 54. So I'm definitely going to continue to read until that part, but I do think that I will take a longer break from that point on. But yeah, I'm really liking it. I don't know where it's going exactly. We do have some very interesting new facts that we're learning, and you do have a big cast of characters already, and they have some difficult names. They're definitely Venetian inspired, which I really enjoy, but you really need to keep your mind on it and remember all of the names and what they mean, especially because you have a con artist who uses different names. But I like it a lot so far. It is because I think that what was the last book that I finished? I'm going to have a look on Goodreads, but it's been a while at least. I did finish an audiobook recently, but I think that the last physical book that I read was maybe Sword of Kaigen, which has been more than a week. But I was reading a lot to finally fit. Oh no, Well of Shades. I read a Juliette Merlier book in between, but for the last week I haven't been reading anything because I usually have like splurges where I read a lot, and then once I finish a book, I need a couple of days to get used to it that I'm out of that world and that I need to pick up something new. So now that I'm back into it, that's why reading sprints are especially helpful because now I have to read. I'm 150 pages in, and now I'm into the story, and I can read a lot for the next couple of days until I finish this book. Oh yes, that's really good. I think that I have the same amount of pages because I started at 72. Now I'm at 150, so also 80 pages. It's especially good to start your day like that because it's only midday here. So I still have a lot of time left to read a little bit more, probably towards the evening. Are you going to read 150 more pages today? Because that seems like a lot. 230 on one day. I can do it if I have to, but most of the time if I read 100 pages a day, I'm quite happy with myself. Yeah, but 22 pages in general is not bad, right? That's around 2 minutes per page. I think that depending on the book, that's quite well. Especially when you have that old language, it's difficult for everybody, but especially if it's not your native tongue, you you might have some problems with it. I had the same with some older books in English that I had to read. It just takes longer. Yeah, and especially because it's short stories, once you're engrossed in a book, 100 pages might not be as much, but if it's short stories, you start a short story, you end it, and then you're out of the story again, so then 100 pages is definitely a lot. Ooh, yes. The Dragon Reborn, I like that one. I do still think that The Great Hunt of the Wheel of Time books, which is the second book, by the way, if anybody's wondering, I think that that's the best one. The ending, it's very hard to top. But The Dragon Reborn was still a pleasant read. But I look forward to hearing your thoughts. And to be honest, I never tried the audiobook because I couldn't get my hands on the audiobook of the Wheel of Time series. But I think if I would have had, then I probably would have stick to it longer because I'm usually a little bit more forgiven for audiobooks if there's like a lot of info dumpy because you're doing something else anyway. But yeah, reading them physically, it took me a lot of time. We had Tome Topple. Well, I do think that the last book that I've read counts for Tome Topple and then this one as well, but I haven't really looked at the prompts. I usually just try to read bigger books, which I do anyway. So 500 plus books is what you need to read for Tome Topple. So I'm always quite well on that part, but then the prompts, I think that I've looked at a couple of them and I decided that it would have been hard to hit any of those. Well, you can't always have good reading months, right? I think that this one I've been doing really good. If I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've finished 6 books at this point, but I'm very positive that I will be able to finish the audiobook, so the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Now I did get the title correct from the first try, so that would mean 7 books in total, which for me is definitely better than the last couple of months. But sometimes you just need a break, especially if it's bigger books or just you want to have a break and do something else. I often have that I read less books when, for instance, I usually listen to audiobooks when I go to work, but sometimes I just want to listen to some music and not listen to books and just let my mind rest for a bit. And those are the months that I just don't read that much. Sometimes you just need that. I understand your struggles. Your struggles. The lighting here is terrible, and often when I want to film in the evenings, the lighting just isn't good enough, and I need to wait another day. I have well, I have a lot of videos that I still need to get to. I think that today I will try to finish or to start filming my TBR for November because I have my TBR set. I just need to film the video. But yeah, need to have good lighting and time. Because I don't know about you, but filming videos, even if it's just a 10-minute video at the end, it takes a lot of time and preparation for me. But yeah, I hope that you have good lighting and good inspiration next week somewhere. Yeah, House of Leaves as a tome, it's maybe only 650 pages, only still a big book, but it's bigger than that. I was really surprised when I picked it up, and I could immediately see that just getting through 20 pages took me double as long as with a normal book. So yeah, if Tome Topple made you pick up that one, it definitely did its job. But I think that you already read a lot of books, right? I'm thinking 65 somewhere this year, so that's definitely good. Yeah. Well, the editing for me, it depends. Especially the stats video took me a long while because I can't do everything in one program, so then I need to use multiple ones. So that definitely takes a long time. But usually the editing part for me, because I have low effort videos in that department, that doesn't really take that long. I keep filming until I have one complete section that's good that I can use in totality. So usually editing maybe half an hour for an entire video. So I'm quite good with that. But filming, just 10-minute video can take me 2 hours. So yeah, that's usually the factor that I need to calculate in when it's evening if I want to film for 2 hours. And then especially sometimes I know that the lighting is going to be very different in just half an hour. So I just can't film because otherwise it would be not as nice if you go from different sections of the video. But I still need to buy a ring light. I've been saying that for months at this point. Basically, when I started filming, I already said that I wanted to have a ring light or box lights or something like that, but I still haven't made the purchase. Yeah, so Tone Topple is, I don't know her. It's Thoughts on Tones. It's her booktube channel, and her name is Samantha, I think, and she does it with a couple of other booktubers and people on Bookstagram. And basically, every couple of months, they do the Tome Topple. You have to read books over 500 pages, and then there are different prompts. And I think that it's 1 month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. So it's just to get your bigger books off your TBR. Yes, so this. And Thoughts on Tomes, I think that it's also a very fitting name for a booktube channel who reads a lot of fantasy, especially if you're then going to do something like Tome Topple, to read a lot of big books. But a vlog is always a lot of editing, in my opinion, because I take a lot of shots that I could use for a vlog, but then you have a lot of repetitiveness, and it's like, am I going to use all of this? No, I need to decide. You need to watch all of that and make it like pleasing for people. So yeah, a vlog is definitely a lot of work. And you always do vlogs for the entire month. So definitely if you have that much footage, but it's nice to see it because you see your thoughts from starting a book until the end. So So I really like it, but I can definitely see that it's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a really fun concept. But I must say that sometimes it's a little bit too short for me, especially if it's only 2 weeks. Maybe I can get 1 or 2 books read. And I always like when I have a challenge that I have like a little stack of books that I can show at the end. So maybe they will do it in the future that you have Tome Topple for an entire month, because then you can really work towards the different challenges. Usually when I try to participate, I can get maybe 1 or 2 challenges done or 2 prompts done. And everything else, I just don't have the time to read big books in 2 weeks. So it's here, I'm going to have a book. It's 12:30. So I said that I was going to have a small lunch, but I'm starting to be hungry again. We still have some bread from the bakery that's fresh. So I am going to have lunch. I want to thank everybody for coming. During the sprints, I had a lot of progress made. I had a lot of fun. And I'm really glad that, yes, we talked a bit, but we also just were being productive, I guess. This has definitely been my most productive reading sprints to date, which is probably because, well, nobody else is here to join me. But I do like this from time to time. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining. I'm going to... thank you, Caitlin. I hope that all of you have a good rest of your day as well. I think that for most of us, it's morning or noon. So we still can be productive for the rest of the day. Bye, everyone.